Ladies and gentlemen, good evening again, and welcome to Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Huge Pop, and tonight we have a guest from Blairdown, Scotland. He's worked with AWF, XIW, SWA, AWA, Freedom Force, and Elite. It's the WildCat wearing the mask. How's it going, my friend? How's it going, my friend?
Going good, man. Staying fit, doing WildCat shit.
There you go.
Usually walking the walk. Tonight we're gonna do the talk. Let's get it, bro.
All right, and I just have to I failed to mention in the introduction. The Southern Sensation. That's all I'm going to leave it at that. We'll talk about that later on. All right, how's that?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. A lot of people like that guy.
All right, I've seen him once or twice, and I think I was okay with him. Though, it was okay. I was okay.
Oh yeah, he was
with the way he handled business. I was okay with that.
Yeah, he was a little younger then too. He's grown a lot since then.
So welcome to a Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast, WildCat. I'm glad to have you on tonight.
Man, I'm more than welcome. Privileged to be here. I'm honored. This is a huge experience for me. Somebody in my shoes right now would probably be clammed up over, wouldn't know what to think. I think this is kind of like I decided on wrestling a few months ago. I'm old. I feel like I'm older. I'm older than some of the guys in the business. If I'm gonna do it to my fullest potential and run with it, man. Just go.
I love your banner, by the way, back there. I've seen that on Facebook the other day. It's pretty sick. So.
Oh yeah. Lady WildCat, she takes care of me, man. She keeps me on top with just all kinds of stuff. She's a great. Well, my merch table, it's like awesome. She supplies stuff for the actual fans, the kids, lots of memorabilia for people to take home with them. She hooks me up pretty good. I can't complain about that.
That's awesome. So we're just gonna start out with some basic questions tonight, if you don't mind. So as a kid, I watched Saturday Night Main Event, the wrestling shows, and I was jealous of my friends because they had the big screen TVs and the big dish, and they could watch WrestleMania, and then they come to school and tell us what happened at WrestleMania, and I was so mad and jealous. But not until I was about 11 or 12 did I get into wrestling to where I watched it, because we didn't have cable. So first question is, what made you start loving wrestling, I guess?
Wow, it goes way back. Some of my fondest memories of one of my grandfathers is watching wrestling with him at 3.
All right.
He died a little before I was 4 years old. But I do remember that. And then my family just loved wrestling. My dad, my mom, they've took me to shows since I was a kid. It's never stopped. Thank the Lord they was in the house just past Saturday night for a show, to watch. And that's that in here, that's something different. But anyway, yeah, just being at the shows at a young age and getting the experience in the show, and then watching it on TV, it's one thing, but being at a show is just totally different. The experience, that from being there.
Yeah, absolutely,
100%. And being around it, just and watching it on TV, pretty much all of my life, honestly.
Okay,
I got good 44 years in it watching wrestling on TV,
44
shows.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that I can remember. Now, there's a few more there that we ain't talked about. But anyway, yeah, just being around it, I guess, as a kid and introduced to it. And then here in the South, in South Mississippi, wrestling it's big here. People really love it. There's fans everywhere we go, and it's a different variety of fans. It'll be different groups every time we go. So we know there's fans out there just like us. And I guess honestly, my intentions all along were, I guess I would love to have been a wrestler when I was a teenager, or, coming into adulthood.
Okay.
Opportunities around here weren't really there The shows were local, but when I say local here, they're probably hour away,
Okay.
sometimes 2 hours away. But back when I was, I think around, let's say 2017,
Okay.
I had talked with the promoter in AWF here in close to Mississippi. It was Alabama Wrestling Federation. His name was
Okay.
Dwayne Henderson.
Okay.
He was in the process of ready to get me into some training. And at the time, and I still do, own a cycle shop, and I had gotten burnt real bad after that. I talked to him the last time, and that took me out for a solid year to heal up. It burnt
Okay.
my right leg pretty bad. It took a while to heal up. I healed up from that, and COVID sets in. So, if you remember right, then the indie scene was shut completely down for about a year or so.
Yep.
And then I think it was maybe early 2020.
Okay.
We went to one of the shows that come close to hometown. It was AWF. And Mr. Henderson had passed at this time. He had done passed away. His son, Shannon, had took over and got to talking with him. Well, yeah, I got to talking with him. And eventually he got me into the training, his training academy, AWF training academy, started training with some guys and just went from there. Just always been a wrestling fan. Always.
Okay.
Would have probably done this if said opportunity would have presented itself in a way I could have took advantage of it at an earlier age.
Okay.
I think it's like I was telling somebody the other day, is wrestling's kind of like opportunities. You're just waiting on that right opportunity. And it's like I was waiting on an opportunity to get a chance at the sport, and took a while, finally got it, taking it, and I'm running with it now. I'm going.
There you go. So where did you train and how difficult was it?
Wow. At first, I started in April of 2021. Full-time smoker. Man, burning them cigarettes left and right. By the end of that year, December, I decided, I was already wrestling at that time too. I decided I wanted to quit. That was my first obstacle, quitting. Because training, I was seeing that I couldn't keep up as well as some of the other guys. So I had to do something about it. That's the first thing I done, got rid of those. The training, yes, we would train once, maybe twice a week. And then if we had shows, I was always there to, for setup, tear down, whatnot. We would get training in whenever we could, before shows, after shows, the next day before we took the ring down, whatever. So getting the training in, I still train. I train as much as I can. Training shouldn't stop, I don't think. Your mind is steadily expanding and growing. New things are happening. You just got to figure out what's going on.
Right. No, so after all this training you did, when did you get the call from AWF or whatever saying, let's make a debut. Let's debut the WildCat.
I have worked closely with AWF since the start. So they kind of knew my situation. My dad was having a surgery that same year. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'd like to do it so that he could see it before he has his surgery, because we really didn't know the outcome or what was going to happen. But thank you, Jesus, everything worked out. It was great. But I got to have a match by September that same year, 21. Okay. And it was a great match in my mind. I am not even going into details on it, but it was a good match. My dad, I'll go into a little bit.
Go ahead, man. Come on, man.
We got time. We got some time.
Yeah,
you're going to like this. I was wrestling two guys. It was tag team, me and another guy. We faced a team. You can go back on Facebook and actually look it up. It's the very first match. Anyway, at one point, me and the one guy, I'm outside selling an ass kicking. He's like stomping away. My dad's done got up, come around to the side where we're at. He's like back and forth, telling him what he's gonna do. The security's there telling him he's got to go sit down and all this. It was so funny. But he never got involved. But man, he just thought this was so real. I went in the back and I was like, yep, done my job. I done my job. My dad thought I got my butt kicked. And so and that's what's that's been good for me is the selling part. I'm tough, man. That's all I can say about that. I'm tough. Bring it on, big guys.
Nice. So you got selling, you got taking the hits, you got all that stuff, the mic on the mic. Of all those things, do you think everything is important to make the wrestler? Like if a guy doesn't have good mic skills, does that make him a bad wrestler?
Good mic skills are a must. I've learned that in the past year and a half. I'll go ahead. Let's skip ahead a little bit. My second match in SWA is against Benjamin Woods. I'm getting ready, pumped up. He just did his promo. They had WildCat, come on, do yours. I jump up, I run over. I don't even have a mask on yet. And they're like, you gonna put your mask on? So like, I guess this is my first promo, but cut the promo and realized then, that now Johnny on the spot, shooting from the hip, you've got to be in that moment. You just ain't going to go out there and say something. You've got to feel it in here. And once you learn and concept all that stuff, it's a combination of stuff you got to put together to make it all work when it comes to the mic. No doubt. The mic, if you're good on the mic, you really can go places without even technically knowing how to wrestle. I mean,
right.
But the wrestling that's the crowd pleaser.
Right.
That's what you got to factor in. Me, I'm still learning. I suspect I'll be learning for years to come. And and I plan on learning everything. I try to learn everything about this business I can.
Right.
The promoters, man, they got a tough job. They have a tough job, I know. Just from helping, just putting your hand out and trying to help a little bit, you can see sometimes how hard it is to put a show together. And some of the guys, I mean, most of the guys work, and if they're booked in certain places, already working, but you have an area that's hot, wanting them right now, it's hard sometimes to fill that spot. And I've seen that with some of the guys. I was having to work for some of the shows, and it's hard to build up from a show when you can't keep regenerating that same store, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The store is there this month, the people are coming back next month to catch part 2.
Right.
But no, he's not. He's over in another state working. So, and then the stores just get so mixed up sometimes from the bookings the way they are.
Right.
But it's understandable. There's so many great talents out there, man. Everybody I've worked with so far, I can't say jack crap about. I really can't. Everybody's treated me good so far in this business. They've treated me with respect. A lot of guys, man, you'd be surprised the advice you can get if you really show them you're working, you're wanting to do this.
Nice.
So there's a ton of, hands out there leading the way, helping. So
that's
good. Kind of easy if you're putting in the work.
That's good. What inspired your ring name and the luchador mask? How did that come about? How did the WildCat happen?
The WildCat, Heidi. Where I went to school at is Greene County, Mississippi.
Okay.
Greene County WildCat. I played a little football there. Always proud of where I went to school at, no doubt. And I'm colorblind, and the blue always stuck out, no matter what it was on. And then the mask, yeah, I've always liked the luchador, the Sin Cara version look, which is pretty cool. When you take that and put it with some animal and then put a redneck in that same mix, I guess. I thought it was pretty cool. It kind of caught on. The new gear I'm wearing now is real. It's what I really envisioned at first, but like every young wrestler I've seen too, it ain't just me. I've seen all of them so far. You start out with some gear. It may not be the gear you chose or want, really. It's just what you had to choose at the moment. I started out, I think, with navy blue singlet.
Okay.
And with just the WildCat wrote on it. And that was cool for a while. The singlet I wouldn't dig in. I wanted to do shorts. I just had some comfortability problems I had to deal with first. That was a so rugged body. We'll talk about that later. I got over those issues though. Now I'm really really comfortable going out in front of whoever. I've already worked some 400 to 500 plus crowds with SWA, and I think the bigger the crowd, the more confidence you really build before you go out. It's just, to me, wrestling's been a life changer, man.
Nice,
and
nice.
I mean completely.
Nice. Yeah. I know for doing these podcasts, it's like I told you before, it gives me that moment I can step away from reality.
Yeah.
And I go to these XIW shows, and it's not like an indie show is nothing like a big main stage show. It's not. You guys, we get there as fans, we get there early, we see you guys putting up stuff. Last December I was at XIW Extreme Impact Wrestling, and they had the cage match for the last half of the show, and guys like Damian Wayne and Justin Overstreet and Jackson Slade and all those guys, even Bill Alfonso from ECW, they were out there setting up that ring. And to see all those guys part of that, you don't see that in the main stage. You know what I'm saying? Then you guys get there and you guys pour your heart out to the fans and pour your heart out in this wrestling stuff, and it's just amazing to see you guys do this.
Yeah. A lot of guys know the importance too. You was talking about those names you mentioned, helping take a ring down and tow it out. It's very important when you're getting out of a building at night, for the promoter was talking about earlier. That's if they're only set time, got to be out a certain time, if they don't, I'm pretty sure they have to pay a little extra. They're trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
And two, it's kind of great when you can get it all wrapped up and all the guys can go their way or can go hang out, do whatever together. It's kind of a mixed group, the way I've been seeing it at most places. You may get out of there 2 hours after the show, but that's because you're waiting on help to help you get stuff out.
Right.
But yeah, but some places like you're talking about, man, it rolls so fast, you be out of there in no time. I love it like that.
Nice.
And that's me. I love being there, a part of it. I like to be one of the first ones to show up, last one to leave if I can.
Right.
Wrestling it's given me a lot in the last, just a little over a year. It's already given me a lot. So
that's
I have no problem giving back wherever I'm working.
Nice. So we're currently, would you consider your wrestling home? You have a home promotion that you call home?
Yeah, Alabama Wrestling Federation for sure. I train with them. That's what I've called home, and everybody around here knows that. SWA is like home too. Everywhere I go really is like home, because once I get in, it's like I fit in. I find my place and I fit in where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. I do what I'm supposed to do, what I'm asked to do when I'm on a job or show. I try to go overboard with it a little bit and help extra if I can. So there's no problems fitting in. It's really, I couldn't say that. Just put it this way: wrestling is home.
Very well put. That's awesome.
Wrestling is home.
That's awesome.
That's about the only way I could put that.
So if you have to look out to your future, people that you met, people that you've wrestled, people that you know in the business, would you happen to have a dream opponent? Say, I got to get this guy.
I'm particularly not really. There's a lot of guys I'd love to face. I wouldn't call them dream opponents. Them dream opponents at my age has already retired. Got out of the business. Ric Flair, man, I'd have loved to wrestle Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I mean, just take a few of them chops he likes throwing. I'd love that. I'd take a chop or two. That don't bother me. Nice. But yes, that would have been a dream match, of course, for anybody, I'm sure. But he was one of them. Bullet the Bob Armstrong.
Okay.
Yes, I'd probably give a right leg, go back and wrestle that guy. Awesome. He was he was one of the guys that I used to go see when I was a kid a lot too. When my mom and dad would carry me, he'd come to Lucedale, Mobile, Alabama, just surrounding areas. And usually, if it was near enough Saturday evening, mom and dad didn't have nothing to do, that's loading up was going, and that just made wrestling so much better for me. Being there in person to see that versus seeing it on TV on Sunday morning was cool too. But
right.
Just being at a show then, was just an experience all in its own. Like kind of like going to the fair,
okay,
but without the rides. You just got to watch the rides.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, the wrestling scene to me, it's been on fire for the past year and a half, I think, and I think from now it's growing pretty good. So if we could do it like tonight, I can't see on here and tell you how many people's actually viewing or watching, but three. So if we had audiences really, really cared, just could you imagine how big this industry could get for a lot of folks? Yeah. And I love all the fans. I'm not going to single them out and say I love WildCat fans. I love all the fans. I mean, I know some fans that are straight up heel guys. They're nothing but heels. They're awesome fans. You know why? They're support, 100% support all the time. Right. And that's what I like about some of the fans that kind of keeps the drive going in some of the guys, make them keep going, keep doing this.
Yeah, of course. When I look at your mask, I think of you got Ray Phoenix and Penta from AEW, and
Ray Phoenix. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
yeah, he's awesome.
So, what's your future goals in wrestling? What? I mean, you mentioned several times that you're in your later years and stuff. What's some goals that you set?
First goal really is to get better, get that good in-ring action behind me where I can really lay it down when I go in there. I get that done. There are some belts I'd like to go after. Of course, it just to say I held them, I guess, because of the area I'm in. And then I guess the third goal will be to help this business every way I can. That's a big goal, but every time you open a door, you never know what's behind it. It may be an opportunity to help. It may be an opportunity to get out of the business. You never know. But every chance I get, if I can help wrestling, I plan on doing that.
That's awesome, man. That's great. I talked to my brother a lot about the guys in the back. These up and coming wrestlers. I say even MJF and all these guys. Then you guys got in the back you have the Ric Flairs, the Stings, the Jake Roberts, the CM Punk when he was around. All those guys, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. To me, all those guys they don't need anything. They've done everything. But people in the back that have knowledge, these younger people ought to be paying attention to what they have to say. So now you're new to wrestling and a little bit older. Do you still find these kind of people in the indies that you would yep, I'm gonna pay attention, I'm gonna listen to what they say?
Oh, of course. I was I was told I was even a little stubborn at first, but yeah, watching old school guys like that, you can get a lot of information. If you're in the locker room with some older guys, some vets, you can get a lot of information.
Okay.
You can get a lot of advice. You can get advice in a locker room in a way you'd never know it. You might not realize it 3, 6 months down the road. Somebody could have said something to you that hurt your feelings or bothered you, but then you figure out, no, that wasn't that. That was a confidence booster. I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
So the advice comes in different ways from guys in the back, and I think, like I said earlier, if the veterans see you really working your tail off trying to do something in this business, they will come to you. They will help you, and you'll know it when they do.
Okay.
I've had countless guys come to me with advice, and it's been taken in, and I can just about remember most of it. If I don't, it comes to me in time when that advice was really needed, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one in particular I think we've talked about earlier. Got a seminar coming up in I think 2 weeks down at XIW. Cody Diener. Now he's one of the guys that he gives you advice. You may not understand it the way he tells you the first time, but he's one of those types. He'll like, okay. He'll put it another way where you do understand. He makes sure he gets the point across when he tells people advice. I've seen
Awesome.
A lot of the guys are like that too. When you have somebody that's being patient with you like that and taking the time to, give you some good advice, then they potentially see something in you that you may not see. And so that's what goes back to like the advice. Don't take everything as not advice. It could be advice, just not in the way you interpret it. For instance, I had my very first match. I had this compression shirt. I still have it. I use it every now and then, and I wanted to wear it out. Right? A guy told me not to wear it. So take it off. My first match in the next promotion I worked at, I tried to get away with it. Same thing. Put that shirt on. Getting ready for the match. Had a veteran come by me. Take that shirt off. At this time, I'm like, man, I don't want to take his shirt off. I wasn't comfortable. I took that as not as advice, as I took it as them guys maybe just saying, hey, take that shirt off. You look goofy going out there. I don't care, I didn't know how to take it. But after a few months, I took it as they told me that because they seen something. They seen the potential. So once I realized, hey, it's a confidence thing in me I've got to work on. It ain't them.
Right.
I worked on the confidence, worked on this whole body, and lost a little weight, started looking a little leaner to where I felt real confident. So it took me a minute to realize that advice and how it came to me or how it was given to me.
Yeah.
Once I figured out, I interpreted in my head what they were really doing, it made me think, those guys were looking out. They wasn't trying to hinder me in no kind of way. And, so respect, man. You see them guys, they've got it. Them kind of guys, they earn that respect with words, just stuff you wouldn't realize what they're saying. Like I said, maybe 2 or 3 months down the road.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, all I can say to any of the young guys, if you're getting any veterans talk to you about anything about your future, about how you're working now, how you can be consistent, you best take that information, really put it in that data program up here and keep it there. And, and respect, give them that respect back, because they don't everybody can stick their, go out on a limb for anybody. I can go out on a limb for a few folks, not many. it's a, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a game of chess.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what you play in, kind of like a game of chess, I guess you could say. And everything's a strategy on everything you're doing. You like will be just trying to plan my days out right now as a strategy. To keep up, just to keep up with the wrestling world, try to stay fit 2 hours a day it takes to do that. And that's hard dedication. Something I never thought I'd be doing. Working out every day? No, not this old boy. But got into a routine a little over a year ago, and I've kept with it. I've stuck with it. It's paid off.
Nice, yeah.
So, dedication is just one thing. And, too, in the training, you got to try to get as much training in as you can, whether it's in the ring or you sitting down trying to mentally figure things out to get it right in your head. And then just having a life on top of all that, too, it's a challenge.
Well, yeah, I mean, it gets crazy with this podcast stuff. You want the idea of the podcast is get content, share your views, meet people, and plus on top of that, I'm a foster parent, so you have to juggle all that stuff, and you got to make sure you watch your schedule, because if you don't you got to make sure you have, people not overlapping and stuff. So, I'd like to thank the people that are watching. We have 3 people watching. I'm not sure why we have a sad face. When I click on the sad face, it says Sharon McLead. It says, I don't know if she meant to put a sad face or a happy face. I don't know. Is that your wife?
She probably meant no. That's Mother WildCat. Okay. She probably meant to put a happy face. She's not fairly new to Facebook, but she's kind of new to it still. She don't do Facebook too much.
That's one thing I had to learn about. I learned this lesson a long time ago when I was in the ministry. I thought it was all about the numbers, performing in front of the numbers, and I was like, I can remember my first event I went to, and it's like there was 10 people. My pastor said, it's not about the numbers. It's about the people you have there and sharing your word, sharing your ideas with those people. So I can imagine, even as a wrestler, wrestling for 12 people, 50 people, 100 people, podcasting for 2 people, 20 people, 50 people, 1,000 people. It's the same thing. You do it not because of the people. I mean, yeah, you do it for the people. You want people around, but you do it because you love it. And that's got to be what wrestling is.
That's the main thing. Just the love for doing it. The being able to perform. Yeah, that's the main thing. I love being able to go out and perform, and then the crowd is just extra. That's what you build off of anyway once you go out.
Right.
I can perform in front of my wife, just one person. Right. No problem. I can act a fool, be myself. So if I can do it with her, I have no problem with however many the number is in the crowd myself.
So growing up, did you so you have a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers? Who would you say your favorite wrestlers are growing up?
Growing up, definitely Bob Armstrong, Junkyard Dog, Kamala. I used to like Kamala. I like that big mean look. He just never spoke hardly. He was just mean looking, like one of them big Amazon headhunters, but he would do the damage. Another guy I used to really like when I was real young, you may have heard of him, named Burhead Jones.
No.
He was in the independent circuit. Okay. I really liked, he would come out at indie shows like in a Superman suit. Okay. That was pretty cool, get his ass kicked every time. But, he was Superman. It was fun. Right. Let's see here. Man, that list could go on. Roddy Piper.
Some of the greatest.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan, the Hart Foundation. I used to love them guys. The tag team I like, Bret Hart and Jim Danville. I thought that was a cool tag team.
So any of these promotions, the promotions that you go to, do you ever rub elbows with some big name guys? Do those guys go to the indie circuit?
Well, every now and then you may come across one or two that's got a big name on it. So far in my little short career, it's just been Diener. I was actually on 2 different shows with him. Both was AWF. Let me see. I mean, honestly, to me, any locker room I walk in, I feel like it's big names in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
for me, it is. But when you say stepping out of the indies scene into like Impact, AEW, WWE, he's been the one from Impact.
right.
AEW, yes, I've been around quite a few guys. Already it's been on Dark. A lot of great accomplishments out of all of them. I don't know why they're not still there because, you make it to a Dark show, you've pretty much accomplished a lot, I feel like, already in the indies.
No doubt.
So once you got to that stage, if I don't know how they process guys in, but I'm pretty sure most of the guys I've already seen on Dark that I've seen in the indies, they'll be back on AEW soon.
Nice.
Well, Fuego del Sol, he's another one.
Okay.
From yes, he was on 2 shows so far, 2 in AWF. He's one of the first guys. Well, he's one of the guys I met on the last show night I was at as a fan.
Okay.
He was there that night. I met him, got some pictures, got a shirt autograph. I still got that Joker. It's nice. I have to bring it to show you sometime.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was just going into AEW at that time. I'd met him, and then by the time he'd come back, he was on the next 2 shows. Well, the next 2 shows he was on with AWF. He was already in AEW working pretty good.
Nice.
Last time, I think he was working with Sammy Guevara a pretty good bit.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the time period. Last time I seen him anyway.
Nice. Do you ever get tired of constantly working the shows?
No.
Okay.
I'm addicted to it, Scott. It's bad. I love it. It's fun. Get to meet interesting people. And then once you get to meeting these folks in different states, different towns, once you start going back, it's like you're going back to revisit family. It's kind of what it's like, Okay. So it's not really bad experiences. No. There's some hard work, I'll admit. There's some hard work involved. But I can't say nothing. I've always been compensated well for what I do.
Awesome. Who's your closest friend in the wrestling industry?
He's a heel. I ought not say. He ought to be watching, but he's probably busy. I don't know, but that's going to be Murdo. Where he goes by Murdo Brown.
Murdo Brown.
We trained together, and we got to be real good friends. He's became what I feel like a real brother.
Okay.
He's one of them guys, I could call up, hey, you gonna do this? He's down for it. He's ready. And he just won the Alabama Wrestling Federation Gulf Coast Championship this past Saturday night. He'd be a great guy to talk to, too.
I got his name. I wrote his name down, man. Got his name down.
He is a character.
All right.
Yes, great guy. He became, like I said, it just seems like he's a real brother. If we need each other, we down for each other. We'd help each other.
Nice.
He's became, I'd say the closest friend.
All right. This is like a 3-part question. So, what are your favorite matches? Who do you enjoy working with in the ring the most? And what's your favorite match that you've ever been in?
All right. So far, my favorite match I've been in, it's going to be this back in April of 21. No, April of 22.
Okay.
I was in Tillman's Corner, Alabama. I was in a the fatal 4-way. It was me, Murdo Brown versus and Jamie Powell and John Breslin. It was for the Combat Pro Junior Heavyweight belt. That match was fun. I think it lasted about 22 minutes, but I remember the match. It was fun for me by then. I had done quit smoking a cigarette for like 4 or 5 months. I could really, I realized that night I could breathe better. Lasted longer than I thought I would. And the match was fun because I think that's the first time I started to experience anything like flips in a match. And it was with John Breslin. I think we went up. Let's see, he was going to give me Hurricane, I believe, but it was off the second rope, and I'm supposed to come over and land a leg drop on my opponent. You know, stuff like that at my age, it's tremendous for me to even think that, or even be able to do it. I just feel like it's just wild.
Yeah.
But I done that night. You know, it was just fun. We had a lot of action in that match that night, and I worked with 2 of the guys that I had done a lot of training with. So we put on a great show that night.
Nice. Yeah.
As far as the best kind of matches for me, as far as best matches I like, I like it's gonna be like a mix between just a down home Southern style wrestling match mixed with some lucha libre match kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned ass kicking with some high flying flips and rolls. It's fun.
Okay.
It's a lot, and that kind of action usually keeps you on edge. You don't know what's going to happen next, you know.
Right. No, absolutely. So I'd like to thank our viewers on Facebook and our viewer on YouTube before we go any further. And I appreciate.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you being on our show, WildCat. How far deep do you plan on taking your career?
I'm like a year and 5 months in. I'd like to have about a 10-year run.
Okay.
About a good 10-year run at it and try to get really established better than what I am now. And really get some good ass ring skills behind me too, you know, where I've got something to really bring to the table everywhere I go.
Right.
And then of course, you know, I do a lot of other work behind the scenes. So, you know, there's one position that could lead to more to work to where, you know, I may have to give up the WildCat and go do the other deal, you know, because you know how things are. Some things catch better than others, but the WildCat has caught on real well since we've introduced him. Fan base has grew tremendously. So I'm thinking, I could put about a good 10-year run on what's left on this old body.
Nice. So we talked about flips and stuff and lucha libre and good home down ass kicking matches. Chairs. I'm sure have you been? I don't know if you dealt with chairs yet. What do you say to those people that say wrestling is fake?
Come get you some. Then we'll have a different outlook on it.
I mean, I got a chair. I don't know if you can see it back here. I got that chair right there.
Yeah,
that's from the XIW April 2022 event, and that dent is real. I don't care. I don't care how people think it's fake. You know, when you get hit by a chair, it's gotta hurt.
Who used the chair? I was there that night.
It was. I'm gonna mention this name one time. Then I'm gonna mention the name again. It was with Damian Wayne, and it was Jackson Slade and Johnny Knockout.
Yep.
So
yep, I was there. I was right in the middle of all that crap.
Yeah, you were. You were. That was insane. That was intense as hell. And I was like, I remember that night because at the end of the night, I think Adrian Whisper came up to the barrier there, and he handed that chair to me. And then some after the whole match was over, and they all went back. This big man, the bodyguard, that said security, said, Adrian says, stay right here. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in deep trouble, you know. And so he gets this chair and he takes it to the back, and everybody signs it in the back. Greatest moment of being in Indies and stuff. But back to the question, it's people say it's fake. Sure, it's scripted, but fake it's not, in my opinion.
No. I can't fail to get in the ring without getting a bruise somewhere. I will say when I first started, the back pains, no, never had that. Elbow pains, yes, sometimes from taking bumps the wrong way till I learned how to do those right. That was the issue. Everything else is self-inflicted. Hell, I got a broke toe right now. Done last week.
Gotcha.
Don't have a clue how I done it, and I worked this weekend with it, no problems.
Okay.
But pain it's going to be you at first, I guess, until your body gets conditioned to it.
Okay.
But shoot, I don't know. It's maybe 6 months, I guess you could say, for my body where I didn't wake up after a training or having a match the night before. I wasn't, hurt. Now I get up after a match the next day, I feel the same as I did the day before.
Okay.
So it's all in how you condition yourself for it.
All right. And we're gonna jump into a question. Then I'm doing this way because I have another question. All right. What can you tell me about the Southern sensation, Ref Wilson?
He's a spur of the moment ref, I guess you could say. What I understand, there were some ref shortages over this way.
Okay.
And he decided to put a ref shirt on and give it a shot without any ref training whatsoever. And just going on what knowledge he already had, I guess you could say, gathering from TV, YouTube, or just being at a wrestling show. Done great at it and has been doing pretty good ever since.
Awesome.
That's something that's kind of growing out of control.
Right.
But he loves what he's doing.
Awesome. So that leads me to this next question. So, like last night on Raw, there was a wrestler threw up the X to, hey, I'm hurt, blah blah blah. How important is the communication between the ref and the two wrestlers and the guy in back calling the shots or whatever happens? And does the referee need to have as much training, or should they train with the wrestlers to know what the hell's going
on? Yeah, it's hard to explain that. I'm going to say that kind of knowledge is going to be based on what you have up here in past experience.
Okay.
Say, for instance, one promotion I know that Ref Wilson works at, they use the ear mics.
Right.
They can communicate back and forth with how they want the match to go. When to get it over with, whatnot, whatever the time length is on it, I guess you could say. Yes, it helps. It's very important to be able to communicate with the guy that's working and the guy in the back. Just, I guess, keeping up with your time, and he knows what he wants in the back, pretty much, I guess you could say. If you got those work great. But sometimes you don't have that privilege of a ear system where you can hear what's going on or communicate back and forth. Okay. So you've got to go on just pure judgment of what your mind's telling you.
Okay.
And then I've only had one match. I've only had to do one match, and that was at XIW, or he had to. I'm sorry. Where the opponent I felt like was done for. When you see their eyes roll back to their head, you know they can't take no more. So you've got to do whatever. And you probably was there that night because it was a lot we could do to get that guy hit to the back.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just go ahead and make that call. But normally, most of the talents know that communication between you and the ref is key, usually for time. That's about it.
Okay.
That's where that's pretty much where I think it should be kept at myself. That's the only communication because honestly, the talents need to be focused on what they're doing instead of worrying about the time. If that ref does have somebody in the back that can tell him the time, then yes, he can relate that to them without them having to worry about, well, how much time do I have? We got to hurry up, get this wrapped up and all that crap, because so it's very key as far as being able to translate whatever from the back to the ref to the guys that's working.
Awesome. So we're gonna pause on the wrestling segment for a second. I heard. I think you told me. Can you share with the fans about your acting career and how that is going and where it's going to take you?
The acting career, that's something new. That's very new for me. Me and some friends, we all, I guess you could say, are blessed. There's a film company here local. They're shooting a new movie, or the movie's done. We're done. But just getting the opportunity to even be called to come to be a cast member and then being in the movie. I'm going into this thinking I'm just going to be a guy standing over there in the corner. I'm just a gangster. No, we ended up doing, some fight scene that I thought was awesome. And we used the knowledge we used from the ring on a lot of this. Mm-hmm. And it looked so good. The director, I felt like he was going back to put me and another guy in the movie in a couple spots because he liked what he seen, So I don't really, I'm not going to say I don't know where I would like for it to go. I'd like for it to maybe go somewhere, but if it don't, it don't. But I look for it to go somewhere, really.
Nice.
It's like I said earlier, it's opened the door. That opportunity was there. I took it.
Okay. I'm going to ask a couple questions. I hope that I don't cross the line with, but you can tell me we don't talk about it. That's fine. Okay.
All right.
Do most indie wrestlers book their schedules based around travel, or do they try to find steady gigs near the hometown and booked around that? So, what steps do you take when you're booking? Do you?
All right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Right now, like me, I've just figured out myself in my mind why some of the promotions, local promotions, like to go with local guys. And I finally understand why. A lot of it's based on the storylines and how well you can actually create those storylines if you're so close and you're working together with guys that you're living next door to pretty much. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus, I like to travel a little bit myself. One, I didn't want to just learn at one spot. I would like to learn as many as I can. I want variety of experience instead of, just going to one spot for my information. If I travel out, I'm going to get broad amount of information. It's going to all build up to more information instead of that one spot.
Okay.
But I do understand why, it is kind of important a little bit to keep everything in a home-based range for some of the companies.
Okay.
So I don't really think it's so much the guys. I think it's more of the companies that would rather it be that way because honestly, all the guys at all the promotions still, they branch out and go different places. And I think that's great.
Now this is a question I'm not sure if I should ask, but hell, I don't care. I'll ask it. So, how much does a indie wrestler earn on an average at an indie show?
Oh, at an average, I'm gonna say I can't say that.
All right.
I'm not the one to ask that. Because here's why, Scott. There's guys. Some promotions pay me. I guess you could say they might pay me more than other promotions, right?
Okay. Right.
Well, I don't want to say what mine's based on, and a green guy come in there and he's only making half that, and like, well, WildCat said he's making this. Why ain't I? No, I make my pay based on what I go in and do,
Okay.
and
That's fair.
that's from there. Like I said earlier, from the beginning to the end. I try to be the first one there if I can, last one to leave wherever I'm
I
working at.
I assumed that was going to be your answer, but that was a question I had written down. I was like, I'm not gonna be a chicken shit and ask that. I'm just gonna go for
Yeah, I don't. You can't hurt to try. Maybe one day we'll get some more experienced voices on here that that can actually say that or tell you that information.
it. Okay.
I really don't know if there is a set pay that what guys should be or shouldn't be making.
Gotcha.
I
Um.
based all mine on paying dues
Okay.
at first.
How important is having a merch table to wrestlers as well as to fans in the indie circuit?
Very important. Uh, Say you go to a show that the draw may not be so well on. If you got a merch table, you know, it helps, I guess, if you was to get a low pay or if you didn't make a lot of pay for doing what you were doing in the first place. The merch table kind of helps pay dividends as far as gas, eat, stuff like that while you're on the road. If you're on it depends on, I guess, too, how much you're into it. The merch table's great. If I have it, I have it. If I don't, if I can't have it, that's fine too. The opportunity is all what I'm really about when I'm there. So the table's just extra, but it is important for a lot of guys.
It helps. It's got to help you interact with fans. I'm sure.
And it does. Oh yeah, man. Usually at intermissions, I get overrun with fans sometimes and signing pictures, whatever items they may buy off the table or arms, faces, shoes, whatever. I've got messages from people before. They said my kid had to sit through church this morning because he had the WildCat wrote across his face. It was wrote on with that permanent marker. I didn't know. He's like, sign my face. So I signed his face.
So would that be would that be the craziest thing you signed?
Um, I've signed casts, shoes. No. The craziest thing I ever signed is going to be a piece of a guitar I used over one of my opponent's head.
Nice.
And it was for him after the match.
Nice.
We'll talk about that another time though, because you'll find that story interesting.
Nice. How important are wrestling seminars to wrestlers, and should fans attend them if they can?
Okay. On fans, no. Seminars are, I think, for someone that's training to be a wrestler, active as a wrestler to get information. Far as fans, you don't want that distraction there. Unless they're trying to get into business and train and wrestle, then you can see this guy at a show. I think the seminars are more for should be for the active talents. Unless I hadn't been to a seminar yet where the fans actually just came in. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Now, if there's a promotion that's willing to do that, it may be cool. I don't know, as long as they kept it to where the fans let the guy in the ring do his seminar.
Right.
That's the main thing. As long as that's all cool, then I don't really see a problem with that. But I hadn't seen it yet.
Okay. So I got basically two more things. The AWF promotion, that was your first promotion that you started out with. Can
That's
you
what
share
started.
with the fans about this promotion? Like where they're at, some big names, some whatever you want to share about that
Yeah,
promotion.
I'd say, let me say some of their old school names is going to be Brimstone, Mr. Gulf Coast, Too Quick. I don't know if you've heard of him or not before.
Too quick, I think I have, yeah.
Lucha LaCour, he wrestles for him a lot. And another great talent is Vladimir Koloff.
Okay.
Have you heard of him?
Well, yes, I think I have.
Okay. Yes, there's a numerous amount of talents that's worked for them in the past. They've had actually quite a few WWE ex talents there before. I think right before I went to work with them, they had Jeff Hardy that year.
Okay.
It was like back 2020,
Okay.
2021. But they've had the Boogeyman, Heidenreich, Doink.
Okay.
Just a variety. And they've been coming to my hometown for like 20 something years.
Nice.
So been in business for a long time. And always put on great shows. I can't everywhere I've went and worked, every show I've ever watched really has always been a great show.
Nice.
I hadn't been to a bad show yet, really.
That's basically would be your home base that you work out of when.
Yeah, I do a
Okay.
lot of work with them. I try to stay. I guess. I mean, it really don't matter whichever promotion I'm going to that weekend to work. They getting 100% of me. From start to finish.
Okay.
And I work that way with all the promotions I work at. It's just not really with AWF. It's just AWF is the ones that give me the start, I guess you could say.
Awesome, man.
Kind of taught me through how things. Shannon when I started with him, I think he may have been 22, 23
Okay.
year old, but
Nice.
he'd been in wrestling. I watched him grow up, with his dad running things for years. So that made me feel comfortable enough knowing he had enough knowledge. I figured he picked up from his dad. And he's a great wrestler if you can never get him in the ring. He's hard to get him in the ring sometimes. But
Gotcha.
yeah, he led me in ways to where he kind of steered me to where it kept me away from places I didn't need to be at the time.
Okay.
And he was always honest with me. And he still has been about most things, as far as I know. He's got me
Nice.
helped get me this far. And SWA, man, when I first went to work with them, that's when my fan base really started picking up.
Okay.
And then
SWA.
SWA, man, it you'd be surprised, just the fans when you go to places now they some fans in SWA. They stick with you. Nice. No matter what, they stick with you. They're like that everywhere. But, you've got fans, honestly, it's going to stick out everywhere you go.
Nice.
It's going to be a different crowd.
So I got two more things. One's a big announcement that you know about that we talked about. I call this part of my thing name dropping.
Name dropping.
So you just give me short bit. Of course, I'm an XIW guy. I've seen you there. I know you've interacted with some of these guys. I'm going to name some names. You tell me what you need to tell me, or you can say pass. We'll start with the easy one. Zach Mosley.
Oh man. I like
Mr. Tiger King himself.
I think the world's Zach, man. Me and Zach, we really don't know each other that well, but we know each other. We talk. He's actually has some family, I believe, lives right here where I live in Greene County, Mississippi. But yeah, he's the $1 million mullet, no doubt. I've been on numerous amount of shows with him now already with XIW. And then 2 we've had him at AWF. I've seen him in other places.
Nice.
Great guy. Want to understand that faction just got faction of the year, maybe, or team of the year in Georgia again.
Yep, they were shooting for it. Yeah, Pepper
Yeah,
Bottom and him, and
yeah, I think they might have ended up with it. Who knows? But if they did, they deserve it. You know,
yeah,
great guy.
C. Nick.
Saint Nick.
He was the
Refresh.
announcer, wearing a blue pimp suit that maybe you might not have been an XFL.
Yeah. He was only at the one show I worked, and that was at the bar before they moved over to the other building.
Yes.
Oh man, he seemed like a very Danny DeVito type enforcer. He wasn't scared to say what was on his mind. Nope. Where'd he go?
He went back to Georgia. He's doing some other stuff in Georgia. I think he's running a promotion right now.
Okay. Well, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I liked working with him. He was fun.
Damian Wayne.
Oh man, he's a good guy, man. He's one of those vets that give me some advice. I think the first time I met him, down there that night we're talking about. Great talent. He's skilled in, I would say, 2 or 3 styles in the ring. So, I mean, and just like I said before, he's one of those talents that he give you advice. That means he's seen something in you. So,
yeah.
Another great words, man. He's a good guy, man.
Jackson Slade.
Big Jackson, big tough guy. He's one of the guys that if I had to face him, I'm gonna run him to death. I'm gonna run the legs off of him. I'm gonna wear him down by running if I have to. That's a big joker, man. He'd break me, fold me up, do whatever he had to with me. But great talent too. Tough as they come.
Yeah, one of the sweetest guys I've ever met in the business.
Yeah.
Great guy. All right, I got 2 names. We'll just start with I'm going to give my opinion of him, and he's an asshole. So, Johnny Knockout.
Don't ask him to gig himself. Don't ask him that.
Don't ask him to what?
Don't ask him to gig himself. Not in front of the crowd, anyway. If you was there that night and you remember with that chair shot he was supposed to take, he actually was bleeding like 10 seconds before the damn chair ever hit him. It was right there for everybody to see. But that's what happens when you hadn't done all that stuff. You go out there and you try. Maybe the first time it may not be so good. You learn something from it. Hopefully go back that second time, get it right.
Right.
But yeah, that's something I don't have to worry about. If they bust through that right here on this front of this mask and bust me open, they've done something.
Last name, Adrian Whisper.
Adrian Whisper. Cat Daddy.
Oh, Cat Daddy.
Honestly, man, he's like anybody else, puts his britches on one leg at a time. I can't say nothing bad about him either. I like old Adrian. He's tough.
He's great. I mean, I can tell you this.
He's treated me fair as anybody else has.
I can tell you this. He's a great promoter. Smart man. And he does nothing. He treats me and my kids here at where I'm at with utmost respect, and he's just a great guy. So
yeah,
I love his character. I hate his character. I love it. I hate it. It's one of those guys that I give him shit all the time when I go to those shows. So that's just fun.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Too. You're gonna have to be around him a few times to really figure him out, and then really understand just how damn cool he is.
Yeah.
That
he's good. I can tell he's good. I like the guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
So the part of our show, I'm gonna let you, before I make an announcement, I'm gonna let you speak to the fans or a certain wrestler, or if you need to cut something on somebody, you got about a minute to do it. Go for it. Tell whatever you want to say.
I wouldn't say not on somebody in particular. I would let some of the guys know in XIW. I'm thinking April is the month that I may come on down there and try to get a little rowdy. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to spend the next couple months maybe just really focusing on kicking ass. I'm gonna learn hopefully some new stuff here in the next couple of months. I plan on doing some training with some different guys, hopefully starting this weekend. That's in the works already. It's hard. That's the hardest part around here right now is getting training together, guys. It's if you only got one or two, sometimes it's feasible if you got enough knowledge there. But yeah, focus and just getting really better in ring actions. What my goal is for the next couple months. And then too, hopefully when I get down there that we can get things rowdy, stir the pot up a little bit, get Adrian pissed off about something. He'll give me somebody. You know how to go.
Yeah. There's a event this in like February 5th. I have a feeling I'm gonna be pissed off, but we'll see. But I love the storylines that XIW has. So all right, man. It's been a joy having you on the Huge Pop Wrestling podcast, of course. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming in. But Thursday nights, in probably a couple weeks, I am so stoked about Thursday nights. I think we're going to call it Thursday Night at the Indies. And it's something that you and I have been talking about. And to the fans, we're going to make it happen. So
yeah, we'll call it have a little side gig on over. Call it the verdict.
The verdict.
What I think, what we can do is, I guess we can let everybody know. My idea is to have a review of all the indie shows in my area, Scott's area, for that Thursday night from the past weekend. Big review on everybody, all the talents. We'll get all the matches together they had at each independent promotion, go through them, and then try to have a list of upcoming for the next weekend. Keep everybody up to date on what's going on in the South and around the surrounding area. There is a lot of guys out there that's working that people don't hear about because it's too far to go to a promotion in Florida for a lot of folks, or for Florida folks to come to Mississippi or even over towards Louisiana. But yes, there's tons of guys out there that's working, and if we could start getting something going where everybody knows the outcome of matches to where certain guys are working that they're keeping up with, it keeps people more in the loop on the indie circuit as well as us.
There you go. We'll be having that. We'll be having hopefully some talents come on for some interviews. I'm excited about that. Again, WildCat, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Scott.
I'm going to close out with a song here. I hope it works. And stay tight. Don't go anywhere. I'll be in the meet you in the lobby. All right.
All right, brother.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out.